What's up, guys? Split Decision Pod, and we are back with another video. Islam Makhachev has done it. Islam Makhachev surpasses Anderson Silva's 16 win streak, extending it to 17. It's a lot of stuff we got to talk about with that fight specifically. I had to jump on as soon as possible and talk about it. I mean, we can really just get right into it. Man, for one, congratulations to Islam Makhachev. He is definitely, a lot of people are already calling him the GOAT. A lot of people were calling him the GOAT before last night. So last night just kind of solidified it for a lot of people. But Islam Makhachev is on a great tear. That speaks for itself. I've made a video about it a few days ago. Go check that out if you still haven't. But I'm here to kind of come at a different angle. I'm here to talk about the fight and like Islam's future, because as much as I'm rooting for Islam and pulling for him to like continue to make history, the Islam I watched last night is not the Islam I'm accustomed to. And I don't mean that by saying that I don't mean that he had a bad performance, because I don't think he had a bad performance. I would say he had a pretty solid performance to his standards. I don't know if it was a good performance to his standards, considering we watched him finish. We've gotten so used to him finish our favorite fighters and things like that. But overall, he had a good performance. He grinded out, did what he had to do. I honestly think the first two rounds were very, very clearly his. I think the third round was very clearly Ian's. I think that fourth round was like that swing round. I would have given it to Islam. I can very much see that round going to Ian. And then that fifth round was definitely Islam. So either way, I don't think anybody was like upset about that decision. I didn't really see too many people calling it a robbery. Wasn't the most exciting fight. Wasn't the most boring fight though. But the main concern with me is, as I watched that fight, Islam looked very, very beatable. And he looked very, very human. Like, I went into that fifth round. Like, I remember watching with EGF, shout out to him. I remember asking him, like, I'm like, EGF, is this fight tied right now? Is it 2-2? Are we really about to see all these memes we've been talking about, all these underdogs and all this and that, all these upsets? Or is it about to come to fruition? Like, that was a real question. For the first time in a long time, probably since the Volkanovski fight, I felt like there was a chance that Islam could lose. I felt like that was there. The problem is Ian Gary, who fought exceptionally, he fought a really good fight. Ian Gary didn't push it enough. He showed way too much respect for the takedowns and just Islam in general. And he did a good job of like making Islam work for every takedown that he had, making him work to hold him down, making him work to, because Islam was searching submissions as well. He was working to defend those. He did a great job, but the problem is he did some damage, but not nearly enough, and not nearly what he could have. Ian Gary very much could have won that fight if he would have pressed on the gas pedal a little bit more and just thrown a little bit more volume. He was damaging Islam. He was hitting Islam. I will even make the case to say, I'm not gonna say he was hurting Islam, but he definitely compromised them to a point where I feel like Islam was hesitant in those later rounds to take him down, because he's like, well, every time I go for a takedown, something is coming my way. Something is coming my way where I'm getting cuts on my face. I'm getting bruised up. And I say that to say, when I watch Islam in that third round, that's where he really starts to slow down to me. And he said he kind of took a rest in that third round because he felt like he was up 2-0 and he knew he would like need some extra gas for the championship rounds, which is definitely makes sense. That makes sense. But if I was watching him in that third round just kind of bounce around on the outside and just like rest, he looked really, really, I'm not gonna say really, really, but he looked tired. He looked tired. I feel like doing all that, like, trying to grapple with Ian Gary and taking him down and hold him down, trying to take his back, all that, yada, yada, yada. I feel like we saw that kind of take a wear on Islam, like trying to grapple a bigger man. I feel like what we thought would happen against JDM, like everybody would say, like he would tire himself out trying to grapple him. I felt like that's kind of what happened with Ian. It's just the problem is with Ian, like as I talked about coming into the fight, there is no finishing threat. There is no like real damaging threat with Ian. I remember being in that fourth round and just watching Ian just like take the center of the octagon. They were both like just so, specifically in that third round, but the fourth round too, like he was just in the center of the octagon, just taking it. Islam's kind of just resting, bouncing around, like figuring out, when do I take him down? I can't really strike because if I can't really close the distance. Like he was trying to, he was resting, and like I feel like part of that came from the fact that he was getting damaged up and pieced up by Ian. I mean, he wore it on his face, and I say that to say, if you're worried about what Ian Gary, now this is under the assumption he was worried. I think he was worried, especially in those later rounds. He wasn't shooting as much. He was playing it way more safer because I feel like he was starting to get worried about what was coming his way, like damage wise. And Ian wasn't even throwing that much. That's what I'm saying. If Ian could have upped the volume, up the like, try to actually push the fight to him, he probably could have won. Cause and I like I said, it looked like Islam was a little bit hesitant to take him down those later rounds because he knew what was coming his way. And I said it to say, like, if you're gonna be hesitant against Ian Gary, as great of a fighter he is, if Ian Gary has enough like power, I guess, if Ian Gary is enough of a threat to like where you don't want to take him down as much as you should be, or push the pace and push the pressure on him as much as you should be in those later rounds, what are you gonna look like versus Morales? What are you going to look like versus Carlos Prates? What are you going to look like versus Shav, assuming Shavkat is like still in his best form in those later rounds? Because I'll tell you one thing, as much like how I just said, Ian, like he kind of tired him. I feel like he tired himself out grappling Ian Gary because he was just such a, for one, Ian Gary knows what he's doing. He's way better technically sound on the ground. He knows how to get up and like reverse and make it harder on Islam versus like a JDM. And he's a big guy. Morales is freaking massive. He walks around at like 220. He's a legit middleweight, arguably probably a light heavyweight. And I say that to say, if you're worried about the threat of what Ian Gary has to offer to you, when he wasn't even like offering that much, when you think about the volume, if you're slowing down like that, dancing around on the outside, like not really trying to push the fight, not really trying to make him wrestle, Miles Morales is not going to sit there. And it's for, and EGF can attest to this, for as much as I think Morales is still like a few steps away from proving himself to be like a true title contender, as powerful as he is and as big the size and weight he carries, I'm just imagining him in those late rounds taking the center. He's not just going to take the center and just sit there. He's going to take the center and try to knock Islam's head off. And as we've seen in multiple fights now, Islam has a tendency to get into wars. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. All I'm saying is he has a tendency. Islam isn't untouchable. We've seen him get beat up and touched at 155 by Volk, DP. Like he can be touched. So what happens in them later rounds when like he's getting less, he's not pushing that pace like he necessarily can at 55. He's not, and he's kind of damaged up. And he doesn't, and he's not really like trying to push that pace. What happens when he's fighting guys that are actually trying to finish him, actually trying to bring the fight to him? Guys who are going to be bigger, continually being bigger than him. Because like I said, if Morales takes that center, he's going to take it and like come at him and try to knock him out, which I think is a very possible situation in this division. I think Islam can be finished in this division. And I don't even look at Morales that highly as a challenger, like yet at least. I mean, I want to say that. I don't want to disrespect Morales. He's very good, 19-0, but I still think like I need to see him prove himself a little bit more. And like even Prates, who I think is fully proven, who I think should get the next title shot without a doubt. Like again, I'm just imagining him in those third and fourth rounds where like Islam is taking his foot off the gas because he's like damaged and worried about what's coming his way. He's not going to be able to have that break. Carlos is going to push him and be kicking him and kneeing him and elbowing him and looking to put damage on him, looking to threaten and finish him. Like, and I will play both sides of this though. I will play another side before I get to like the third guy, who I obviously Shav, who I think would like push a fight to him. I will play the other side. Everything I'm saying could possibly won't even. There's a chance everything I'm saying probably won't even matter when it comes to Morales and Prates at least. because there is a very, very good chance, and I think it's very likely that Ian is probably going to give him, out of everybody in the top 5 at least, or outside of Shav. When it comes to Ian Gary compared to Morales and Prates, I think it without a doubt, Ian Gary is probably going to be the hardest to take down, the hardest to hold down, and the hardest just to grapple with overall, just with how smart Ian is, how technically sound he is, all that, yada, yada, yada. And there's a world where none of this I'm saying even matters, because Islam can probably, he's gonna take Morales and Prates down, whoever he ends up fighting. There's a world where he like finishes them in round 2 or submits them in round 2, because there are a lot of positions that he got Ian Gary in that I don't know if Carlos Prates would be able to get out of without like being very like finished or like very compromised. Especially when I think about how Ian Gary was able to wrestle. I mean, he wasn't just like taking him down the whole fight, but he uses wrestling to a good degree. And when I think about Islam, like when I think about the positions Ian Gary is able to put Carlos in, I'm pretty sure Islam can get him in those same positions. Not to MMA math here, but like it's just Islam is just a way better wrestler. And like it's so there is a chance that like everything we saw last night could be simply off the fact, could be just because Ian Gary is just that hard to take down. And I think that is a possibility too. But in the event that that's not the case, these fights are gonna get harder and harder for Islam, man. They really are. And like as a guy, as like someone who likes to see him and wants to see him like continue to make history, I'm worried. Like I remember talking about like people on the last video saying like, well, if he defends this belt four or five times, 3 or 4 times, like I felt like that was a realistic possibility. Now at this point, I don't think he's gonna get 3 defenses. I think he's probably gonna beat Prates. They're probably gonna end up giving him Prates. I think he's gonna beat Prates, and that's probably gonna take everything out of him. And honestly, with him sitting at 30-1, I would not be surprised if Khabib gets in his ear and like tries to get him to retire. I understand he was just talking about winning 20 in a row and all that, but that was before I just seen what I seen. Now, like I said, there's both sides of this coin. That could have just been Islam's worst performance. That could have just been him still getting used to fighting in welterweight. He is in a new division. That could be him. Like that could be true. I just don't think it is. I think at the end of the day, Islam, I don't know how much better he can get at this point. Like he's reached the pinnacle. It's hard to get, and me saying this speaks to how great Islam is, because I don't see how he can get better than what he is. And if that is true, like if his best days are truly behind him, which I think it's possible, and again, it's also a chance that his best days are behind him, but he's so damn good that he doesn't need his best days to defend his belt 2 more times. That is also possible. I just don't think it's that possible. But I just think there's a good chance like he can defend his belt 1 more time, get out 1 more defense, and like if he gets that, and like after that, it's gonna get really hard. Like I think it's a very good chance he loses his next fight, regardless of who he fights. And if he doesn't lose his next fight, I'm pretty. I would push it up to 80%. I'm not gonna put a percent on it, but if he defends this belt again, I would be really, really impressed. And if he somehow defends it a 3rd time, which I'm looking at is kind of like almost, I don't want to say impossible, but it's gonna be really, really hard for him to do, man. As more tape continues to come out, as like things get tougher in this bit, it's gonna get difficult, man. It really is. Because like I said, this is an Islam. This isn't 155. Islam could, if Islam was still fighting at 155, it wouldn't be. He would still run through the division. He was still finishing guys. It wouldn't be a question. But this isn't 155, and I think last night showed that. And things are just gonna keep getting harder. And like even when I think about how like Ian was able to like reverse some of his grappling exchanges some of the times. It's just Ian, as smart as he is, obviously knows, okay, I shouldn't necessarily engage in the grappling. If I can reverse it, cool. But I shouldn't get, like, he was getting some good positioning on Islam sometimes. It was a time or two where he was like almost on his back, but he kind of didn't like fully go for it, because That's Islam's game. Let's just be real. That's Islam's game. And then this brings us to my next point, where as a guy in like Shavkat, imagine like assuming that Shav is like comes back and is still his best form, Shav would mess around and take Islam down. And that's not to say that Islam or Islam is a weaker wrestler than Shav or anything. That's just to say I would argue that Islam is probably the best wrestler slash grappler in the UFC. If Shav is below him, he's like right here. But that size is gonna be that equalizer that brings it here. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, as skilled as Shav is in the grappling, he can take him down. And what happens if Shav reverses Islam and gets on Islam's back? Now Islam has to worry about someone trying to sub him. Now Islam has to worry about someone trying to finish him. Like, and I just think that's gonna be hard as he fights these other guys with real finishing threats, real danger threats. I think it's gonna get hard. Like, I really don't. I really felt like there was a chance that he could defend this belt like 3 or 4 times, especially if he didn't have to fight Shav somehow. Even if he doesn't fight Shav, I don't know, man. And like I keep saying Shav because I still feel like Shav is like, I would keep saying I feel like Shav is like the guy to beat in this division. I do, I really do. So like, I'm gonna keep using him as that goalpost, as that reference. But like, I'm just like trying, like imagining it. Like, I'm imagining Shav in that third round where like Islam is like bouncing back and forth on the outside, like very like wearing damage on his face, like looking like somewhat tired. Like, Shav is just gonna sit there in the middle of the cage and just line him up and kind of wait for him to come in and counter him and all. Shav is gonna come at him. And Shav is gonna like push him with his own striking and try to damage him and hurt him, something that he is very capable of. And like I said, who's to say Shav can't take him down and present danger to Islam on the ground when you think about his size, his grappling prowess. So like, Islam, like I said, it was by no means a bad performance. No means. It was just a performance that we needed, and I say that to say like it's told us a lot. Like, I feel like. And I don't think I'm reading too much into this. Like, if you just looked at the fight, I don't think I'm reading too much into it. It showed us a lot. And it mainly showed us how dangerous this division can be for Islam, which makes this reign even more intriguing because it's even more higher stakes at it. Because if Islam defends this belt 2 times after what I just seen, and like how hard, because if he retires with 3 defenses in this welterweight division, he will have to fight his absolute ass off. And like I said, it just raises the stakes because if I see him put on the performances that he will need to get through Carlos Prates, Shav, Morales, if I see him compete at the level that I think he will have to, like I said, the stakes are gonna rise because at that point the GOAT case it will be his. Like I don't know, it will really be his. If he defends this belt more than 3 times, if he defends this belt more than twice, because I like how hard it will be to defend it twice. Like, whoever his next opponent would be, it's gonna be very difficult. So doing that alone would just be like very impressive. Hell, last night was impressive when you think about the fact that he is still moving up from 55. But like I said, the level he's gonna have to perform at to defend this belt like 3-4 times, if he somehow does that, I don't see how you argue that he's not the GOAT, man. I don't. Then again, that's going to be a hard task, and I'm going to keep saying it, bro, because this danger threat, the finishing threat, the danger threat is going to do nothing but increase as he continues to go through this top 5. And like I said, it just makes me excited. Like, now I really want to see, like, beforehand, like a few weeks ago, if you would have asked me what would happen to Carlos Prates versus Islam, I would have said he's just going to take him down and control him and like pretty much dominate him. But knowing the damage he can put on him, the danger he can put Islam in, because a lot of that fight, even though Islam had a good amount of control time, a lot of that fight was standing, and there was more than enough opportunity for Ian to like do something and damage him. He just didn't take it because he wasn't throwing enough volume. Again, that could have been like part of the game plan to lure him in so he could counter him, things like that, which I understand. Like, you don't want to get opened up too much against Islam because at the end of the day, he's just gonna take you down. But like, I don't know. That fight, it just made things so much interesting. I'm just excited thinking about like Islam going against these guys in this division. So that just makes you ask the case, who can dethrone Islam? Because I don't think the question used to be, I feel like, I'm not gonna say the question used to be like, will anybody beat Islam? It kind of was though. I and I guess that still is the same question. It's just now when you ask that, it's more reality behind it. It's more like it's like more people really feel like now there are like a lot of people behind a Morales fight. Now there are a lot of people behind a Protest fight. Now there are more like people behind a Shavkat fight because now we really want to see like, can Islam really hang in this division? Like, is it how tough it was for him yesterday? And like we know that's not as tough as it was for him yesterday. Like I feel like a lot of people, including myself, know that if he keeps fighting 2 or 3 more fights, last night, there's a very, very good chance that last night will not be his toughest fight. And in the event that that's true, Islam can lose. And I think for like the first time in a long time, like we're actually asking the question, like, who can dethrone Islam? Who can do it? And like it's people here, and I'm just lighting up thinking about it because it's just exciting. It's just so exciting. Like just seeing the history unfold. Like we're a part of this. Like we're watching this. Now I do want to say, regardless of what happens, Islam is without a doubt the greatest fighter of this generation. Whether or not he's the GOAT or yada yada, that can be another video for another day. But I don't know. Last night was just really intriguing to me, and it's just, as a fan, it's exciting. Like it really is exciting. Like I don't know. I really like. Oh my God, as a Shavkat believer, dude, I really hope he gets in this octagon soon and like just like takes his number one contendership back. And I hope Islam has the belt. While he does it, I just need to see that shot in Islam. I need to now. I need to like, especially now that I know like Islam can be beat. Like I need to, but I'm gonna just say it again. There is a chance that was just Islam's worst performance. Like I said, now with all the mileage he has on his body at this point, with him being 34 years old at this point, with him being another division at this point, that's probably not the case. There probably is, the more likely case is that he's on the decline. And just because he's on the decline does not mean he's washed. I'm watching Volkanovski. As much as I love Volk, I can admit that Volkanovski isn't his peak self right now, but he is so damn good that he doesn't need to be his peak self to be the champion. Like, and that could be the case for Islam, but I just want to see that, and that opportunity just makes me so excited and so excited, man. I can't wait. Tell me what y'all think, man. What y'all thought about the fight? Tell me what y'all think about just this division overall, how things unfold. Because I really think, like I said, if Islam gets to 30 wins and like his next fight is a tough ass fight and he like gets through it again, I think like there's a chance that like it's just, yesterday kind of opened my eyes that like we're really like in that stage where like, and I don't want to overreact here. Like I don't want people to get the wrong impression and think, oh, he's saying Islam is washed. Oh, no, because I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying like I think last night showed that we are really starting to become close to the beginning of the end, if it's not here already. Whether the beginning of the end is him losing to someone flat out, or him like slowing down and like getting up out of here before he does lose. Like either way, that possibility is like here. Like every fight from now on, I don't want to overreact, and I don't think I am, but every fight from here on out could be Islam's last. And like that just makes I feel that just makes the stakes so much higher because now we want to see it. Like I want to see it. I want to see it, man. I want to see it. But man, that's really all I have for y'all today. Shout out to EGF again, man. We really going. He's always here in spirit. Follow me on TikTok, split decision pod __. Same thing as on Instagram. We gonna stay consistent for y'all. Get some uploads, man. I can't wait to let me know what y'all want to hear next. Let me know if, and everything I'm saying could be no reaction. Let me know if I'm overreacting. Also, let me know who you think would have the best chance to beat Islam. And I also want to say this before I go. Everybody, there were like a small amount of people that felt like, oh, he could go and move up to 185 and he could, if DDP's a champ, he could beat DDP. And that is like, I don't want to ever hear that again. Like, let's, to be honest, after seeing Alex and every, like, we should just like kind of like exclude triple champ status like for a long time, and like until we see somebody who is just, we should kind of just I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. Like, I just want to say that is not happening. Never for is like that is not happening. That's not. It's just not gonna happen. And but yeah, until next time, I'm out of here, man. Let me know if y'all enjoyed the video. Like, share, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. Until next time, we out of here. Peace out.